A while ago, Billy Zig, he gave me this picture here, and I did a video on this picture, but I wasn't really sure when it was or whatever, and unless you know something about the history, you're never going to find it. But actually, what this picture was a ball, a party that the Tsar of Russia had in 1903, just before a great big economic crash and also a revolution. So, even with an impending global economic crisis, this is 1903. I'm sure this is going to link into where we are today, really, except that they've done something different today, because can't go around with headdresses on and stuff like that. But even with the impending global economic crisis that would commence the end for the Russian Empire, when the Russian imperial family set out to host a party, they never do low-key, no expense was spared. On the eve of revolution in February 1903, they threw the most obscenely opulent affair the world had ever witnessed. If Tsarist Russia was to go down, they went out with a bang. Anyway, we're just moving on. So here I go, I'm looking at the pictures now. They do look amazing, and I wondered what was going on. I had no idea when I was looking at the picture, although they look Russian. But these were Russian headdresses and stuff like that, and it was actually the Tsar of Russia. Emperor Nicholas II invited 390 guests to the party held at the Winter Palace at St. Petersburg. This was a 17th century themed national costume ball that lasted 2 days, and I read in there that some of the costumes were from the 17th century. Yeah, I read that. Just look at it. They're dressed amazingly. Oops, excuse me for that. To pose for an epic family portrait, the whole family gathered together to capture what was their final photograph on the staircase of the Hermitage Theatre. Everyone was given a golden insignia to symbolise his or her attendance at the court that day. And there is Tsar of Russia with his wife. The astonishing, lavish parade of the 17th century appeals were inspired by the times of the second Tsar from Romanov dynasty, Alexander of Russia. This is to celebrate the 300th anniversary of the Romanov dynasty. And then here's some pictures of them, some of the people that went. Now, do you see these shoes? I did a video that said that it was in England and they were wearing shoes like that. So it couldn't have been of England. It had to have been of Russia. I made it a while ago. But anyway, everybody dressed up in their best, spent masses of money on these costumes, and they did look quite gorgeous, don't you think, for 1903. Look at that one there. She was quite beautiful, wasn't she? But that's assuming that they're men and women, and these ones are women. Because you just never know, do you? But anyway. And actually, when you look at the headdresses, they were very Russian. But anyway, I never realised that before. Covered in real jewellery, the guests spent a fortune for their costumes. Some would have the equivalent to 10,000 euros today. The Empress Alexandra Vona donned a brocade dress adorned with silver satin pearls and embellished with a diamond and emerald studded crown. Oh, gone on too far. And a magnificent emerald necklace chosen by the court jeweller Carl Fabergé. I mean, she does look quite pretty, doesn't she, that one there? Isn't that beautiful? So, this obviously ties in today. These pictures came out last year. Anyway, that's as far as that one goes. So, just going back up to the top. These beautiful costumes. There you go. I just took that one because it says it's the 17th century. Look at what they're wearing and look at the background. Look at the ceiling. Quite amazing, hey? That people could do this in those days. Almost looks like carpet on the floor there. Anyway, I filmed this, so yeah, there's another one. 1897 with those turned up shoes at the end, which I made a video, but all the English people, well, they said it was English, these turned up shoes, and I thought that was very strange because that wasn't very English, so now I know that that's a Russian film. Anyway, there you go, there's some more pictures, the same ones for this party. It says, when the Russian imperial family threw a party, they didn't do low key, even with the looming global economic crisis that would mark the beginning of the end for the Russian Empire. Does everybody know that? Do they? Anyway, let's move on. Another one. When the Russian imperial family threw a party, they didn't do a low key, even with the looming global economic crisis that would mark the beginning of the end of the Russian Empire. No expense was spared. If Tsarist Russia was going down, they were going to go down with a bang. And so, in February of 2003, well, where are we now? We are going into this looming global economic crisis. But for different reasons, because we've been put in it, and then we've got this pending stupid thing called the virus. It was an obscenely opulent, I can't say the word, opulent costume party will be the last for horror for imperialist Russia. Emperor Tsar II invited 390 guests to the party held at the Winter Palace in Petersburg. So I'm just putting some pictures together. I just went and looked it up. So let's have a look back a little bit there. Back on. There he is with his wife. She doesn't look very happy, does she? Anyway, let's move on. So it says, in 1903, the Romanovs, Russia's last and largest reigning royal family, held a lavish costume ball. It was to be their final blowout, and perhaps also the last great royal ball in Europe. The party took place at the Winter Palace at Petersburg 14 years before Tsar Nicholas' abdication on the 290th anniversary of the Romanov rule. The Tsar invited 390 guests, and the ball ranged over 2 days of festivities with elaborate 17th century boyar costumes, including 38 original items of the 17th century and the armory in Moscow. The first day featured feasting and dancing, notes, Russia Beyond, and a masked ball was held on the second. Everything was captured in photo album that continues to inspire artists to this day. The entire Romanov family gathered for a photograph on the staircase of the Hermitage Theatre. For the last time, they would be photographed together. Anyway, we're just moving on. It is like seeing two different dead worlds. Amazing that. It is like seeing two dead worlds superimposed on each other. The Romanovs play acting their beginning while standing on the threshold of the last days. With the irony of in hindsight, we will always look upon these poised aristocrats as doomed to violent death and exile. In the morbid turn of mind, I can't help thinking of the baroque Gothic, of the mask grey of the Red Death, Edgar Allan's Poe's story about doomed aristocracy who seal themselves inside a costume ball while a contagion I can't even say the words, ravages the world outside. The external world could take care of itself. In the meantime, it was a folly to grieve or think. The prince had provided all the appliances of pleasure. It was a scrupulous scene, that masquerade. Oops, a bit up here. So, we had Queen Victoria, and when she died, Edward VII came to the throne. That was her son. And this is her grandson, George V. And he looks extremely like the Tsar of Russia, which I already showed you the picture. He looks very, very like that person. And of course, in Russian history, he would have died. He would have died. He came to the throne afterwards. I just wanted to add that bit because, you know, when I've looked up pictures, I've said they're the same person in other videos. Anyway, he looks very, very, very like the Tsar of Russia. Anyway, I just wanted to add that bit. And also, they were on the brink of a global collapse, just like we are now. How do we know that it wasn't made for them? Like this one has been made for us. Because we were doing okay. And now we're not. And now we've got a Lyrus on top. Also, I just wanted it noted that the Tsar of Russia was related to Queen Victoria. So luckily I found this woman here. She's written a comment. She says George V, who is Elizabeth II's paternal grandfather, was Queen Victoria's grandson through their son King Edward VII and his wife Alexandra of Denmark. Alexandra's younger sister was the Empress Maria Theodorovna of Russia, whose eldest child was Emperor Nicholas II. Since George and Nicholas's mothers were sisters, they were first cousins. So basically, you can read the rest of the little bit there. So basically, he was cousins of Queen Victoria's children. This is Queen Victoria's son, who became, he was George, I think he was George, whatever he was, George V. And this is the Tsar of Russia. Do you see how alike they are? They are cousins. Okay? Are these the last Tartarians? Again, is the Tsar, it says here, Queen Victoria with Tsar Nicholas II of Russia. Okay? So there you go. So that says the Tsar with Queen Victoria. See? They're related, but I actually thought the Tsar and Edward V were actually the same person. But there you go, they look so alike, don't they? But anyway, that's with Queen Victoria. Maybe in our imagination, the Romanovs and their friends seem haunted by the weight of sacrificing outside their palace walls in both their country and around Europe as the old order fell apart. Or perhaps they just look haunted the way everyone does in these photographs over 100 years ago. Does the colorizing of these photographs by Russian artist Klimbin, who has done similar work with his images of WW2 soldiers and portraits of Russian poets and writers. Well, I don't know if anybody remembers me putting this video out, but I did. But I wasn't sure when the era was. I just had the picture and I didn't know what it was. Anyway, it puts flesh on the pale monochromatic. Oh my god. Can anybody read that there? Faces. Gives the lavish costuming of furniture, texture and dimension. Some of the images almost look like nouveau illustrations and resemble those of some of the finest illustrations of Poe's work and the work of contemporary painters. So anyway, it's just talking about that. And I mean, look at the wallpaper. That's got wallpaper on, or they've painted that on the walls behind. It was a hostile Russia glared through the large windows of the palace. While we danced, the workers were striking, and the clouds in the Far East were hanging depressingly low as Russia beyond notes soon after the celebration. The global economic crisis marked the beginning of the end of the Russian Empire, and the court ceased to hold balls. I don't know if we've been told it's quite like that. Maybe we have. Maybe it's in our history. I don't know. Look at that one. Beautiful, really. So they've been coloured in. They were black and white. Oh, they were black and white. In 1904, the Russo-Japanese War began. A war Russia was to lose the following year. Then I can't say the word, I do know what it means. I can't say it. Aristocracy's power was further weakened by the revolution of 1905, which Lenin would later call the Great Dress Rehearsal for the revolutionary takeover of 1917, and that's when he's abdicated and he dies. While the aristocracy costumes itself in the tapings of past glory, armies amassed to force their reckoning with the 20th century. Who knows what thoughts went through the minds of the Tsarina and her heirs during these 2 days, and the minds of the almost 400 noblemen and women dressed in costumes specifically designed by artist Sergei Solomenko, who dressed them from the work of several historians to make accurate 17th century recreations, while Peter Carl Fabergé chose the jewellery, including, writes the Vintage News, of the Tsarina's pearls, topped by a diamond and emerald studded crown, and an enormous emerald on her brocaded dress. Wow. My reading's awful, by the way, sorry about that, but anyway, I'm trying to do my best. The writing's quite small and it's late at night. If the Romanovs had any inkling their almost 300-year dynasty was coming to its end and would take all the Russian aristocracy with it, they were at least determined to go out with the highest style. The family, with almost certainly the most absolutist power, would spare no expense to live in their past, no matter what the future held for them. See the original black and white photographs, including that of the last family portraits. That says 2005 there. I don't know, it's just a number, isn't it? They might say 1905. I thought it was 1903, but anyway, let's carry on. So I've gone back to the top then, the end of that. And then there's a bit more about the winter ball, but not very much information there, just the same things there, the grand whatever, and some other pictures, and that's on Wikipedia. And I just wanted to pick up, because obviously that's what the picture was on the left, and then the colour one is coloured in, and then it talks a bit more here, but I've got a bit more information to get to. That's a bit more about the Russian family. This is what they look like. Most amazing. And then I found Russia and the crisis of the global economy. The world economic crisis is at an early stage, manifesting itself primarily in the area of finance, but it will spread from the US to the new industrial countries, and the global contraction and production will lead to stagflation. Anyway, if I've made mistakes, sorry, but I think you can read this one. as an in-depth analysis of the possibilities and implications of the global industrial downturn. In the early weeks of 2008, virtually all Russian and foreign experts viewed the situation. Right, so another crisis, another global crisis in 2008. And that's when we decided to come out of Europe. Or voted. 2008. We had a bad time then, yeah we did. A lot of people lost their jobs and things. 2008, so there you go, there's another one. Just looked up stuff and I was putting it in I was putting it in a video, just seeing that the date and 8. Anyway, let's go to the top because I'm not reading all that. It wasn't about the pictures. And the panic of 1907. It's all to do with the bankers' panic. It's a bit more there, but I can't read that now. Yeah. And you can see that. It's too much to read. This is massive, whatever massive. There you go. And then it says there that he lived until 1918. Well, his spouse did. And Tsar of Russia. Nicholas II of Russia. 1917. Oh, he was born in 1868. He wasn't very old then, was he? He was only in his 40s, 50s. But I had a feeling that he looked just like grandson of Queen Victoria, and he came back to rule as King of England, to be honest. I mean, they like playing the games, and then obviously that's the Executive family. You know how they like playing their games. Isn't that strange? And I tried to look it up about this global deterioration, but it's kind of where we're going now. Anyway, I just wanted to draw your attention to this. It's quite relevant in a way because this is where we are now. Anyway, thanks for watching.